Hi everyone, Radhe Radhe. Today, we start chapter 2, verse 1. So, a lot of people are now saying that chapter 2 is the Saransh, which is it is the summary of the Gita. It is some people are saying it is the summary of the Gita, the most important chapter of the Gita. If you just read only chapter 2 and you don't read anything else, then you've got the Gita. You've understood. Like, I mean, of course, you're going to read the Gita, but that's what people say, that like it is that is it. And then some people say it's Sankhya Yoga, and Sankhya Yoga I've not fully understood. I looked up what is Sankhya Yoga, and it's one of the six major traditions of Hinduism, where it is explained as the path of correctly discerning the principles of tattva or existence. I think it's concerned with the proper classifications of the element of Prakriti, which is nature, and Purusha, which is I'm not matter, nature or matter, or something like that. That's what. So I will get to know more about this as I go on. I want to also say that I'm feeling very nervous about doing this, about starting this, because chapter 1 was easy. There was nothing there to really analyze about different versions of the Gita. Like, I have different versions of the Gita now that to read up on, but somehow I'm not feeling like it's complete. Like, even though I have 4 or 5 different sources of the Gita, that I can go to the different verses and get the different um, interpretations and translations from there. Somehow I'm not feeling like it's complete. So I'm feeling a lot of responsibility, and I'm feeling very afraid of whether I'll be able to do it properly, whether I'll be able to hold that responsibility well. And it's going to take a lot more time, because until now it was just so easy. Chapter 1 was so simple and so easy. This is going to take a lot more time, so I hope I'm going to manage to do a good job, and please pray for me that I manage to do a good job. I will be very, very grateful for your prayers, that I am able to understand with the intention that I have, to understand the different interpretations of it, and to understand the different schools of thought, and to really distill out um, different interpretation, like have a holistic understanding of it, because this is going to get very real now. It was the coasting is over. Now it's going to get very real. So okay, but it's super fun, it's super exciting. This is what I was waiting for. This is why I started this project. So I am very, very excited and nervous at the same time. They're two sides of the same coin, right? Nervous and excitement. But I'm, very, very happy at the idea, at the thought of being able to do this, and to be able to learn. Okay, so let's sing chapter 2, verse 1. Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Vidyo Adhyaya. Second chapter. Uvacha tam tatha kripayaveshtam ashruपूर्णाकुलेक्षणं विषीदान्तं idam vakyam uvacha madhusudanah. So the translation here is Sanjay Uvacha. So this is Sanjay. Until now, Arjun was speaking in the previous chapter, and the last verse of that was Arjun just put his bow aside and he sat in his chariot, and he was like, I don't want to fight. I don't like this. I don't want to fight this. There's just a lot of evil in this. So apparently there were 3 different arguments that Arjun had made to Krishna, and he had said. One of them was compassion, and one of them was fear of the sin, and one of them was like, I don't need the enjoyment. So those arguments he put, and Krishna is going to address those arguments one by one in chapter 2. So Sanjay speaks, tam tatha kripaya vishtam. avishtam. So unto Arjun then, who was overwhelmed by compassion, Ashru Purna Akula. Ashru is eyes, no, tears, filled, Purna, filled, Akula, I'm assuming tears, fulfilled with tears. No, okay, filled with, Ashru is tears. Ikshanam is eyes. So, Ashru Purna Kulekshanam. So, these are all combined. So his eyes filled with tears. So seeing Arjun full of compassion, his mind depressed, his eyes full of tears. So Vishi Dantam, lamenting, basically his mind depressed, that's where that comes from. These words said Madhusudana. So idam, these Vakyam words, Uvacha said Madhusudana, the killer of Madhu, which is another name for Krishna. So, seeing Arjun full of compassion, his mind depressed, his eyes full of tears, Madhusudana, Krishna, who's Krishna, thus spoke these words. So, so I'm looking at the purport now. This is the Bhagavad Gita as it is, Srila Prabhupada's one. So I'm going to talk about this. I don't want to focus too much on this, but I do want to focus on it, and I want to focus in a very sensible kind of way. So here he has he has said a few things. So firstly, the word Madhusudana is means the Lord who killed Madhu, Lord Krishna who killed Madhu. So now Arjun wants Krishna to kill the demon of misunderstanding that has overtaken him in the discharge of his duty. So, and then he talks about compassion. So, knowing where compassion should be applied, and I think that is coming out in the future verses. So, I'm not going to go into that here. I don't want to jump ahead. So, there is one part here. So basically, he's talking about like the material world and the soul. So you don't feel compassion. You don't need to feel compassion for the body. You feel compassion for the soul. That is the higher level compassion. And so here he says Arjun was a Kshatriya and this conduct was not expected from him. Like one who does not know this and laments for the outward dress, which is the body, is called a Shudra. And so or one who laments unnecessarily. So Prabhupada is calling Arjun a Shudra and he's saying Arjun was a Kshatriya and this conduct was not expected from him. So to me, this puts me like this is Arjun bashing, and it takes me away from it takes me away from really diving into it, because it's like what is the need to judge Arjun, right? Like what is the need for this sentence? The sentence is not adding any value to this. There is no point in saying, oh, you should have known this, and why do you not know this, and you are a bad person, or you are whatever, why you should know this. Like, I don't understand this whole concept of should. It is Arjun was where he was, or maybe he had other reasons for asking this question, because, or maybe he was where he was. Either way, Arjun was, it's okay. So, and Swami Mukundanand here also says the same thing. He's not as, in this verse at least, he's not as bashing Arjun as Srila Prabhupada was, but he is a little bit. He's saying the fact is that Arjun is overcome by grief and despair shows that he himself is in dire need of compassion, which is true. I mean, yeah, we all are in dire need of compassion. So was Arjun, clearly. Therefore, his idea of being merciful upon others is meaningless. It just feels a lot of judgment in this. So Koti Shri Krishna in this thing he just doesn't put a lot of commentaries, he just does translations. So here in his translation, he says, to him who was thus in despair, overcome by pity and in tears, Krishna spoke these words. This is a very precise translation here. I like that translation. Okay, so we will do verse 2 tomorrow for chapter 2. There are 70 something verses here in chapter 2, so it's a long, it's a 2 months, like two months and some days, 10 days, 15 days, 2.5 months process to do chapter 2. So it's going to take time, and I'm going to be reading. So I've started reading another book called My Gita by Devdutt Patnaik. And it is a very, very, very different take on the Gita than Srila Prabhupada's take or even Swami Mukundanand's take. It seems to be completely, and I've only read about 20 pages so far, but I can tell you, like, it was very exciting to me. So he talked about how the number 18 is very significant in all of this. There are 18 chapters. They were apparently of the Gita. There were 18 books of the Mahabharata. There were apparently 18 armies that were involved in this war, and there were what 18 one more. There was one more 18. Um, I'm forgetting now. There was another 18. So they, and then he says in verse 5.13, Krishna says that the body. Let me see if I can find it, because that was a very good thing to read. Okay, Krishna there are 18 chapters in the Gita. There are 18 books of the Mahabharata. The war was fought for 18 days, and there were 18 armies. So in Bhagavad Gita 5.13, Krishna describes the human body as a city with 9 gates. So two people make it 18. And Arjun wanted to leave everything and go to take sannyas. And so Krishna said, no, don't do that. You need to do your duty. Stay in the Grihastha Stay here and do your duties. So he talks about how the Gita continuously, very frequently talks about not becoming a hermit, but staying in a normal life and following your duty, following your dharma through the normal life. So here he says that since in 5.13 he says that each human being is 9 gates, and so two people are 18. So there is a huge focus on the word 18. So there is a huge focus on relationships. Like his entire thing is about relationships. The Gita is talking about relationships. He gives a lot of examples about relationships and how we should be in relationships. And I really loved to read that part of it. So yeah, that's his take on it. So that is not a verse by verse thing. I'm going to be reading a book. I'm going to be reading that. It's a relatively thin book, so I'm going to be reading that along with this, and I will let you know of, like I let you know right now, of the different ideas that come out of that book. And there are one or two more books, and I think I'm going to get serious about reading those as well, so that I can, or maybe watching videos that explain each verse. So sometimes, like, if I can maybe find a video that explains 1.2, then that would be amazing, because then people will go into a lot more detail. Because I've been watching videos of different verses of the Gita, but like they're just random verses. They've not been focused. So maybe I can do that as a process of like looking for videos that focus on 1.2 and watching those, and then I can give you the saransh. I can give you the summary of all of that learning in these videos, and that'll be very exciting. So yes, please pray for me and wish you a very, very beautiful day. Radhe Radhe. See you tomorrow.